will come next is 2 or 3 openers for the shoulders and for the chest. So step to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, dive your body all the way down, bend your knees to touch the ground. Inhale, long flat back. Exhale to walk, step, or hop to low push-up. Inhale, forward facing dog. Exhale, press back, down facing dog. In down dog, inhale, come forward, lower all the way down onto the ground. Just take your left arm and cross it underneath you. Cross it so that it's in line with your shoulder, and then take your right arm forward. Your palms will face down to the ground. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lower your head so you're getting a stretch on the outside of your left shoulder. And we're going to hold this for a couple counts. If it feels too intense, I want you to look to the right and turn your chest to the right a little bit. If it doesn't feel very intense, I want you to look at the ground and try to drop your right armpit and your right rib cage closer to the floor. Second position. Go ahead and take that left arm and reach it all the way out to the side, and then go a little bit more to the side. So your torso's coming off the edge of the mat. Come a little bit more to the side, come a little bit more to the side, and then turn and look to the right. Bend your knees up. Pick up your hips and move them to the right side of the mat, like for real. Pick up your hips, pick up your ribs, move it to the right side of the mat so that your knees are really close to your right wrist and to your right elbow. Then go ahead and turn your right knee slightly up to the sky. Lift your head off the floor. Tent the fingers of your right hand and lift your head up. This is only the beginning. If you already feel enough, I don't want you to crush your back arm. I want you to pull away from your back arm. Now, lift that right leg up and stretch it all the way to the back of the room. Put it down on the mat and think about even turning your left knee a little bit towards the ceiling. So right knee is going to turn towards the ceiling, left knee is going to turn towards the ceiling. Fingers press into the ground, and you're pulling your chest away from your left arm. And you should feel that like, oh my goodness, you should feel that. And then carefully come back to center. Make any sound you need to in the middle, and let's go the other way. Take your right arm and tuck it underneath your body. Palm face down, take your left arm and reach it forward. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring your head down towards the floor. If you don't feel the stretch, turn your head just a little bit to the left. Turn your chest a little bit to the left, and that will make things lighter. That will make it an easier pose. Or you can turn your head down to the floor and try to bring your left rib cage down and your left shoulder down. Oof. Just go easy on your shoulders. And then slowly take it up. Now, take your right arm and reach it off to the right, and then go more to the right, and go more to the right. Your torso will come off the mat to the right. Your hand is a little over shoulder height. And then look to the left, curl your knees up, use your hand and your feet on the floor, move your hips a little bit more to the left side of the mat, and then a little bit more to the left side of the mat, so you've got a huge stretch going on. Also, tent the fingers of your left hand on the floor so you can lift your head and shoulders up off the ground. Turn your left knee towards the ceiling. And then reach that left leg all the way back and down. Start turning your left knee up to the ceiling. Also, try turning your right knee a little bit up to the ceiling without crushing your arm. So we want to pull away from the right arm as best we can so that there's traction and space being made. Okay, carefully bring your knees down. Come to center. Make any sound you need to. And there's one more piece. Bring your right arm off to the right into a goal post position. Now the elbow isn't below the shoulder joint, it's just above the shoulder joint. And again, you move your body a little bit to the side, to the left side. You turn and you look to the right, and this one is harder, so don't push deeper. This one is going to be much, much tighter. You bend your knees, shift your hips to the right side of the mat, shift them to the right side of the mat again, shift them to the right side of the mat again. Now you're in trouble. Turn your right knee up to the ceiling. Maybe even turn your left thumb up towards the ceiling. Tent the fingers of your right hand on the floor. Lift your head up, lift your shoulders up. Start to turn your knees a little bit. Easy does it. And then carefully release back to center. And when you come to center, we're going the other way. So bring your right arm out to the side, not below shoulder height with that elbow, above shoulder height with the elbow. Move it to the side, and then turn your head to the left. Turn your knees to the left. Use your feet, use your hips, and move over to the left with your rib cage and your hips. And then turn your left knee to the ceiling and even your right thumb to the ceiling. Tent the fingers of your left hand on the floor. Lift your whole upper body, lift your chest, and instead of crushing that arm, I want you to pull away from it. Some of you will think about turning both knees up, but it's not necessary. Carefully drop back to center. Press your hands into the floor and come on up. Next, you're going to need something to go in two different places. So if you have two rolled up towels, that's absolutely perfect. Take one towel and put it underneath your right knee here, and then close the knee. Take the other and place it up here in your hip, and then close the hip. If you don't have these props, you can do this whole exercise without them. But I also want to recommend that those of you who are really tight and coming into a squat position like this is too hard, you can have your hips up high. You'll just lose the rolled up mat that's behind your knee. So you can do it as a runner's lunge with all of the variations. Capiche? Runner's lunge, maybe. Or if you're coming all the way down into a half kneel, half squat, you'll be down here. Position one, right hand reaches forward. Touch your right tricep to your right knee. Can you get your armpit to cover your knee? So if you use your left hand on your right shin, you pull a little bit. Can you get your armpit to cover your knee? Maybe. And then you push the knee and the tricep against each other. Flex the fingers of your right hand, and then try to push your knee into the back of your tricep so you're getting a stretch here. What's opening is your ankle joint, your calves, your knee, your hamstring, your quads, your hip joint, your abdomen, your armpit, your tricep, your elbow, your wrist, your palm. We're opening up all the stations on this line so the information superhighway is clear. Position number two, back out, and then come in on the inside of your right knee and try to tuck your right elbow underneath your right knee. Bring your left elbow down to the floor. That way you can press the top of your knee into the back of your arm. Just a little bit, because we don't want the front of the shoulder to feel this. We want the tricep to feel it. If this is an okay position for you, I'm going to show something wacky but possible. So wacky but possible lifts you up again. You pull your knee right into the back of your right shoulder, plant the weight into your right hand, and then turn everything to the left so that your shin pushes into your tricep. That's enough to give you the tricep stretch you need, but maybe something else happens. All right, whatever you're doing, come back down. Third position, back out for a moment. Let the circulation restore itself. And then come in and hug on the outside of your right knee so that your knee is up close to your shoulder. But let's slide it down so that it's at your elbow first, so we can release the forearm. Turn your palm to face you. and then grab onto your wrist with your left hand. I also want you to turn your body a little to the left. So as you turn your right knee to the left, it should push into the muscles of the forearm. And if my palm is face up, it's going to push into the flexor group, right? And if my palm is face down, and I even take this part of my arm and I rotate it down, then my knee is going to push into the extensor group a little bit. So you can just try that one. And then when you come back to center, now slide your knee up to your chest as best you can. Reach across and see if you can hold your left knee in your right hand. In the beginning, it won't touch. Or maybe you have to pick your knee up like this and then put it back down. Fine. Turn your body to the right so that your chest turns to the right and so that your right knee pushes into the attachment points in your right shoulder and helps to loosen them up. I'll do it a couple times through. So if I back out and then I rotate and I back out and I rotate and I back out and I rotate, like that. Relax for a second. The final variation is to reach your right arm all the way forward so that your knee is in your armpit, and then slide your right hand underneath your right foot and compress. For this one, turn your body a little bit to the left. Your knee is pushing into your tricep, pushing into the top of the humerus. And just breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Exhale. Release, come to center. Take your rolled up stuff out of the way. And now come into downward dog and see if you can feel the difference between the right side and the left side. If we've done our job correctly, your right heel should be more anchored and your right shoulder should be looser. So the right side of your body should feel like it's down a little bit closer to the ground. Come back down to the ground onto your knees, slide back, and then turn your left knee up to the sky. Find the rolled up blanket and put it underneath the left knee. And then find another one and put it in the crease of the left hip. If you're seated up on top of some blocks for this exercise, great. Now, position number one, reach your left arm forward and push that knee right into the back of your left tricep. You might need your right hand to hold the front of the shin and pull it into place, and then flex your hand and press through the palm of the hand down towards the floor. So your wrist is bent, your elbow is bent, your shoulder is bent, your hip is bent, your knee is bent, your ankle is bent, and everything is just getting going. Okay, second position, go ahead and back out and tuck your left elbow underneath the inside of your leg. So it's sort of like a crow pose setup, and then take your right elbow down to the floor and mildly press against your tricep with your knee. The reason we're getting into the tricep is because when you have tight triceps, you have velociraptor arms, right? Tiny, itty-bitty little arms with the elbow extending backwards. But when you release the tricep, the shoulders broaden and the chest opens. So we're being sneaky, but people are going to ask you why you look so awesome after this class. And you can tell them no particular reason. So you push your knee down into the back of your tricep. And then if you're going to that kind of odd, crazy place, what you would do is you would pull your knee firmly to the back of the arm, put the weight into your left hand, turn your whole body to the left so that your shin is pushing against your left tricep. And then maybe that's the place where you lean forward a little bit and you give it a boost. Go ahead and put everything back down and wrap your left arm around your left knee. And we're going to go down to the elbow joint first. So if you grab onto your left wrist with your right hand and you turn your palm to face you, you're going to be pushing into the flexor group of the arm. Rotate your left knee a little bit to the right. So if I take that knee and I push it to the right, I'm pushing right into that thick, strong arm muscle group. And then we're going to rotate the hand the other way. Sometimes rotate the forearm the other way, and then turn your left knee to the right, and see if you can get this group right here. Okay, when you come back to center, slide all the way up to your shoulder, or as close to your shoulder as you can get. Swing your left arm across and try to hold your right knee. If you can't get it on the floor, by all means, you can pick it up, grab it, and then put it back down, or you can bring it closer, or you can take it further away, depending on how much or how little you want to feel. I'm going to show you, I'll do a couple twists to the left. So you just take your whole body, you turn your chest to the left, you turn your knee to the left, and it's wedging into that shoulder joint perfectly. Awesome. Back out for a second. Give yourself a little circulatory break. I love all these things that we're doing because they're really very close to where the collections of lymph are in your body. So you could get a little lymphatic drainage during this. And it's just going to create an all-over body glow. Final position. Reach your left arm forward. Try to put your armpit over your knee. So not here, but right over the top. And then slide your left hand under your toes. Turn your chest a little bit to the right so that your knee is pushing into your tricep. And then lift your chest up ever so slightly. Bring it back to the center. Release your hand. Release the whole thing. And if you'd like, you can try that downward dog just one more time because it's going to set us up for the next pose. So from downward dog, put your knees on the ground and push back to kneeling. Typically, at this point in class, I like people to try a handstand. So I'm just going to put it out there. It'll probably last about a minute or two. It's something entertaining that you can try. Because when you open up your armpits, like we just did, and you open up the front crease of the hip, you have a better chance than ever before to balance over your hands. So, go ahead and come up to standing at the back of your yoga mat. And I want you to imagine with me that you're not going to do a handstand, but rather, you're in an acting class. And the teacher wants you to be a waterfall. And so you step 1 foot forward, and it doesn't matter, your body will know. Inhale your arms up to the sky, and as you exhale, be a waterfall. When you reach the ground, back up a little bit, and then the water rushes forward into the river, and the leg that's behind you lifts up, and you do a little toss of that leg. Right? You just toss it up. And then back down. Okay? Come back out of it. Now, to reduce the possibility of chaos, the second time, you're not a waterfall. You are a martial arts instructor teaching a whole class full of people how to do a handstand in slow motion. Ready? So you're either going to be a waterfall or a martial arts master. Inhale both arms up to the sky. As you exhale, come on down, and then in slow motion, you back it up, you bring it forward, place your hands, take your shoulders over your wrists, and with whatever leg is in the back, you're going to toss that up towards the ceiling. When you come down, put your knees on the ground, take your hands to the back of your neck, put your forehead on the ground, and massage out the muscles you just used. Go ahead and release that and back your body up to kneeling. Find something that you can sit on, like a block or a blanket, and just place it between your hips. Take your toes together to touch and your knees out to the side. And then bring both hands over to the right thigh and tuck your fingers underneath your right thigh like you're tucking your mattress sheet between the box spring and the mattress. So you just tuck under like this and then lean a little bit to to the left and massage this out. And you can go from the knee to the middle, up to the top near the groin, and then try it again from the knee to the middle, and then all the way up to the top. And then let it go. And if you look at it, it's already in a deeper opening than the other one. Just from a second of massage. Take your hands over to your left leg. Tuck them in between the hamstrings and the calf. And then lean over to the right and put a little massage down on it. So you're going to massage the lower portion near the knee, the middle portion, and then all the way up and get close to the groin. And then once again, come all the way down. This is where I'm feeling some tight stuff. I'm just going to dig it out. Move up to the middle. And then all the way up, close to the groin. One more time, come down. Perfect. And now that should feel warm and ready to be stretched. And take your block out of the way. And sometimes what I like to do with blocks is I'll put them so they're touching my belly button. So if I just took this and put it here, right up into the gut, you can hold it like that. So a yoga block, or maybe you even have like a basketball in the house, you put that here, and what it does is it prevents me from arching my low back. I'll say something weird and maybe it'll make sense and maybe it won't. You know, you have a pec in your chest, right? Pec major, pec minor. You also have a pec in your groin. Your pectineus muscle. And so the stretches that we did earlier to open up the chest so the chest can lift, we also need to do things for the groin so that the thighs can move forward a little bit and we're not continuously in a chair pose position with our hips. So that's all we're doing here. Take your block and move it a little to the right. Reach out with your left arm as far as you can, drop the head down, and come into a side variation. Because this is the simpler of the two groin openers that we're going to do today. Here's my suggestion. Take your left arm and slide it underneath your right arm. You can remove the blocker prop and then try to put your left shoulder down on the ground. This is a huge groin stretch, so be careful. So left shoulder comes down on the ground. Right arm travels behind your low back, and for some of you, it comes all the way to your inner left thigh, and you hold there. I'm kind of going to pull my left thigh up a little bit. Go ahead and bring your left hand back down to the floor, right hand back down to the floor, come to center, and then walk over to the other side. Take your right hand forward for a second, and then slide your right arm underneath your left arm, and see if you can bring your shoulder carefully down. Because as it lowers down, it's going to be stretching your right groin. At the bottom, it might be too much. Take the left arm behind your low back onto your inner right thigh, grab the inner right thigh and lift it. And then your head might be able to come to the floor and breathe and rest. Carefully untangle, push your left hand down to the floor, bring your body up. And the second kind of pose that we're going to do is to slide your hips forwards, open your knees out to the side, open your feet out to the side so your heels are in line with your knees, and then just make sure that your hips are in front of your knees. You don't want to push your hips back behind your knees for this one. So hips and knees are in alignment. Sometimes I have to pick my knees up and put them down to feel good here. Do not arch the back, belly button lifts, and this is the one that we're going to do to the side because it's already such an enormous stretch. We don't want to twist in it. Walk your hands over to the right. Reach long through your left arm. And then if it feels comfortable for you, what you can do is pull forward a little bit more until your belly or your hips come to the ground and do your side stretch here. It kind of reminds me what people's dogs do on the kitchen floor. I'm like, how did they get so flexible? Move your hands back under your shoulders. Come up in center. Walk your hands over to the left side. Reach long through your right arm. And either hold here, or you can pull forward a little bit until your belly touches the ground. Let your head come down and breathe into the possible release of your hips. Go ahead and walk your hands back to center. Close your feet first, then back up your hips, and then close your knees. And when your knees close, set them up hip distance apart, and come up to a kneeling position. If you need a cushion under your knees, you can take one. In preparation for camel's pose, one hand goes on your belly, one goes on the low back, and you feel the belly recede and lift, and the low back descend. Right? So belly recedes and lifts, low back descends. Take both of your hands to your hips and push your hips down towards your thighs, squeezing the elbows together and boosting the chest up. Now there's some things I just don't do in camel, right? So in camel pose, I always make sure that I have my hands supporting my low back, and also I never lose my head. It sounds like some kind of parental advice. Don't lose your head, right? So if your head goes back like this, I can't breathe and I can't think clearly. So instead, you're going to lift up like this and keep your voice strong and the circulation clean. And then if this is your variation for today, you can keep it. But if you're doing the full camel pose, tuck your toes under. Or you can use a block or some mason jars, whatever you have at home. Place them next to your heels. And then watch this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my weight in my hands and not lift my hips. Instead, I'll shift backwards until there's a lot of weight in my hands, open my chest up first, and then start to move my hips. And at a certain point, the weight starts to lighten on my hands, but I don't want that. So lean your upper body back again. Bend your elbows so you can feel your hands firm on your feet, and then push into your feet to roll the top of the chest open, bringing your chin in towards your chest and elevating the heart center straight up towards the sky. And then the hips are going to come backwards. Your hands are still on your heels. Hips come backwards, hips come backwards, hips come back, and all the way down, super safely. From your camel pose, walk your hands forward. Place your thumbs into the crease of the armpit, and then bring your hands down to the floor and interlace them. If you know that you're somebody that's working with a gentle practice, you'll be staying in this position with your hands interlaced. You'll lift your knees off the floor, and then you'll pick up one foot, put it down, and pick up the other foot and put it down. However, if you're somebody with a more advanced practice and you know that you're not going to crash land on any strange living room furniture, you place your hands flat on the floor. Do not jump. You do this to control yourself so that you don't fall. Push into your fingertips and use your navel to keep you steady. Lift up, walk in a little bit. Take one leg up, and then instead of jumping, you shift your body weight forward until it's in your arms. And the legs come up, and because we're moving towards heart opening, you can bring the feet down towards the head, and a little bit forward in front of you. Slowly, carefully, come out the way you came in, and just like you did with your handstand, you bring the hands to the back of the head, the back of the neck, and you massage it out. Go ahead and roll your body up. Cross the ankles. Sit down, scoot forward, and lay down on your back. So when you lay down on your back, we've got a little bit of bridge, a little bit of wheel, but ultimately we're heading towards the close of our class. So come all the way down. And for bridge pose, push your hips up in the air. If you're using a block, place it not under your low back, but place it under your sacrum, under your hips, so that you can keep your belly in and you can keep your low back long. This is the same thing that we did with our pose before, with camel pose. Roll your shoulders back and down so your chest is open. Palms face up to the sky, and then low back is long. Same exact position. If you don't have a block under your hips, take your hands and interlace them. Walk your shoulder blades together. Press your palms together. And then I want you to sit on your forearm so that you're providing a trough for your spine. Put your breath all the way up into the top of the chest. And then lift your hips up, release your hands, come all the way down, and rest with your hands in prayer position on your forehead for just a moment. The next level is to use your elbows on the floor. You push your elbows into the ground and lift your hips up. This is to get your rib cage over your shoulders as best you possibly can. Once they're over your shoulders like this, pull your knees forward so your low back is long, pull your belly button down. If you're lifting to a back bend today, to a full wheel, your hands come up overhead, you squeeze the elbows to parallel, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, knees go forward, hips come up, hands press down, and maybe you just take a gentle bent knee, bent arm, back bend to warm up. And then slowly come all the way down. Roll your wrists to clear the hands, and rest your hands on your forehead in prayer position. So I'm going to show you two more variations for people who are doing the full wheel. One is to get your quads to open more, and the other is to get your chest to open more. So, you take your hands back down to the floor, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, push into the ground, walk your feet in, and lift your heels up. Then, dip your head down to the floor and push back up. And when you dip down, it's going to be in your quadriceps, and then push up, and dip down, and push up. This is also the place where you can put your crown of your head on the floor, walk your elbows to the ground, and then push into your feet so your head is not on the floor. Right? No weight in your cervical spine. To come out of this one, put your hands back down on the floor, push all the way up, walk your feet out, and then slowly and steadily lower your body all the way down. Roll out your hands, and then rest. There's one more. So for the final one, instead of lifting your heels up, you're going to try to push your heels down and straighten your legs a little bit. And that puts the stretch all into your chest. So you take your hands down to the floor. Inhale, exhale, lift up. And if you need to, you can move your feet out a little bit, push into your heels, and use it. I don't know if you can see it, but as I push, yeah. It starts to open up the chest. And then all the way down. Oh, it's amazing. Take a couple deep breaths in and a couple deep breaths out. For the recovery from this pose, cross your right ankle over your left knee, hug your left thigh into your chest, and let both of your legs fall over to the left. When they come to the left, put your hands on your right hip and push your right hip away while pulling your belly button down. So you're pushing your right, never the knee, you're pushing your right hip away, belly button pulls down. Then you can reach your right arm out to the side and look to the right and open up the right side of the chest. Go ahead and uncross the ankle. Pull your legs back to center. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. Reach underneath your right thigh. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let the legs fall over to the right so that your left foot is flat down on the floor. Take both hands to your left hip and push your left hip away. Never the knee, only the hip. And then the belly button pulls down so that your low back gets a little bit longer. Then you can take your left arm and reach it out to the side and look out at your left palm. Since most of the weight is already on your right shoulder, what I'd like you to do is roll all the way onto your right side, press up to seated, and swing your left leg behind you for pigeon pose. Now we're going to take restorative pigeon because it's the end of class. Take your block, or it could also be your rolled up blanket or prop, and I want you to put it in front of your right ankle so that it touches your belly button, and then come down onto your elbows. Tuck the back toes under, and push into your front forearms, push into those elbows so that your hips slide back a little bit. Then go ahead and walk your hands backwards. Put your weight into your right butt cheek and swing your left foot around to the front left corner of the mat. Your right foot will come in against your inner thigh, and then you move your left hip back a little bit so that you can tuck your hips under your body. I'm going to show you how to get really, really deep into this forward fold. First, just take your right hand across and see if you can touch your left toe. Your knee can be bent, the hand can be on your knee, your shin, or your foot. Wherever you are today, that's perfect. I remember reading this book this last year, and at every point in the book it said, if this is like you, I want you to know that you are normal. That all of these feelings you have, that the way that your body is, these are normal things. So if you come into a stretch, you want to do the thing that makes sense for you. Okay? Now, drop your chin down towards your chest and see how close your nose comes to your left knee. And then lift your head up and lean over to the left so that your left palm is on the floor or your left elbow is on the floor, and your right hand is reaching like crazy. Right, so you're reaching, reaching, reaching. If you have any kind of knee problems, you're going to put something underneath your right knee so it's not just hanging out in the air. So like this. Then take your right hand to your right thigh and push into your right thigh and lean forward. With your left hand, you can take it back behind you, and with both hands push and rocket ship lengthen your upper body out of your hips. Already that reach of your head and that reach of your chest is going to get you much further than you're used to. Go ahead and come up. Turn to face your right knee, and whatever prop you have, I want you to put it on top of your thigh. So I'll do it with this one too. So if you're using like a rolled up blanket, put the rolled up blanket on top of your thigh, inhale, lift up, and then exhale, fold down. And if your right hip lifts, it doesn't matter, you can let it lift. Just try to get your head down to the floor. Then go ahead and slide your prop out of the way. Feel how low you are to the ground and start to come through to center. Don't get too close to that leg. It knows what you're up to. Bring your bring your right arm under and lay on your right shoulder. And just look at your foot like, I would like to touch that someday. I think it's a good idea. Prop yourself up on both elbows and put more weight in your left elbow than your right elbow. Take your right hand to the floor and just rotate your chest a little bit to the right. If you can, you're going to get your left shoulder closer and closer to your left knee. Then we make a circle and we end up in our starting position. So for the circle, your head will go to the right, it'll come down near the floor, and then as it passes over to the left, reach forward, grab your left foot with your hands. If you still have your block, you can put it beyond your foot on level 1, you can put it beyond your foot on level 2, or you can put it beyond your foot on level 3, pull your torso forward, and then ease your body down. Gently release what you have. Slowly take it up, bend your left knee to the ceiling, and cross your right leg underneath it. We're going to put one of your props into the inner crease of your left hip, and then hug like we did before. And just hold this for 5. because we didn't get a chance to try the release before. 4, feel your heart lifting up. 3, 2, and then on 1, take the prop away and go back into your twist and just see how it feels at the end of your practice. When you come back to center, we need to switch legs. And I like to do it cabaret style. So if you just lean back a little bit, and then you do a little. Now you've learned two new skills today. You can be a cabaret dancer, and you can also be a yogi. Send your right leg back behind you for pigeon pose. And take your block or your rolled up mat and just place it on top of your ankle. And then come down onto your elbows, tuck the back toes under, lift your back knee up, and push into your arms. Go ahead and set your back knee down. Bring your body slowly up. Take the props out of the way. Sit onto your left hip and swing your right leg around to the front right corner of your mat. And then just pull your right thigh underneath you. Right? So there's a deep, deep crease and your hip is receding and your chest is reaching forward. And then reach your opposite hand, your left hand to your foot. And remember, you can completely bend your knee here. I actually prefer if you bend your knee so that your low back stays safe. And notice where your nose is on this side. You know, is it 3 inches away? Is it 2 inches away? Is it barely touching, but it's a strain? Is it a foot away, right? Notice. And then we're gonna trick it up. So those of you with knee issues, you put the block underneath your left knee. Bring your right hand to the floor, your right elbow to the floor. Sweep the left arm up and over and stretch. And then take that left arm and put it on your inner left thigh and press your left thigh away. What your right arm can do is you can reach your right arm backwards and push into both arms to reach your chest and head further forward. Slowly take it up. Turn to face the bent leg and put the block or the blanket on top of your thigh. Inhale to lift up. And as you exhale, come on down. And try to get your head to the floor. It doesn't matter if your right hip is lifting up. And then you can remove the prop. Try again. And start to get curious about your right foot. So we come a little bit over to the side. Cross your left arm under and lay on your left shoulder and just look at your foot. It looks like it's so far away. Someday we'll reach it. And then bring your body to the center between your two legs and put more weight into your right elbow. Take the left hand to the floor and look a little to the left. So that's going to get into those right hamstrings. And you could bring your shoulder closer if you wish to bring your shoulder closer. Right, this is all those twists we did at the beginning, just happening here. And then you're going to make a big circle with your head. So your head will go over to the left, it will come down extra super low, then it'll skim over the floor until you come over your right leg and grab on. And this is where you can either hold your foot, you can hold your block level 1, you can hold your block level 2, you can hold your block level 3. Telescope lengthen through the rib cage, traction your upper body forward, and then come down. Gently release what you have. Slowly come up. Bend your right knee up towards the sky. Send your left leg underneath, and then find your prop. And put the prop in between your belly and your inner thigh. Take the right hand, the left hand, reach it across to the knee or the elbow to the knee. Lift your chest up high. The smartest, safest thing to do with a twist is to keep your vertebra in alignment. So the whole spine stays stacked. No rounding, right? No arching. Just a little boost to the chest for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And on 1, you take the blanket or the block out, and then you try your twist again. Just see how it's feeling. Slowly come back to center. I have one last thing for you before we hit the floor in Shavasana, and you're going to need your 2 props. So if you're using rolled up towels, those will be perfect. For some of you, it will be an experiment. So you're going to put the rolled up towel behind your right knee, and then pull your right foot in. If it's just this, that's fine, right? It's this half crouching position that we did earlier. If your foot will cross over your left leg, that's also fine, right? If your ankle will come up to your hip and you can fall into half lotus, notice how the blanket is getting stuck on the floor for me. I'm gonna come out, just put the end of the blanket in, and then come down. So this would be half lotus. However, if you're a full lotus person, you're also going to take the other leg forward, put the blanket or the towel in the back of that knee, and then fold in. Maybe it folds in and it folds under instead of over, because I really don't want you to tax your knees. But if you know that you're normally a lotus person, you can take that foot over and hook it around the blanket. So you end up with these 2 little things popping up like this. Touch the first finger and thumb together and try to hold this and breathe into its opening. If you wanted to make the pose a little bit more of a challenge, you could also mildly lean forward. Okay? That's the first side. Watch how cool this is. So if you take your top foot out first, and then you take the second foot out, remember which foot came out second and put it right back in, and then put the other one in, and you'll find that your lotus position becomes oddly loose from what you just did. So we put the right leg in first on that side, and we're going to put the left leg in first for the second side. So just take the blanket and put it underneath the left knee, and then fold in, maybe just to this position, right? Maybe to cross over into half lotus and try it there, with no force to the top of the knee. And then the second one comes in, and you put the second rolled up mat behind that knee, and you come in, and maybe you just cross it under, and you're here, and this is great. But maybe you're curious, and you're normally a lotus person, and so you're like, I'm gonna try it, and you cross over like this. Either way, it's going to help to open up your pose, even if you just have one prop in place. And then you touch your first finger and thumb together and you breathe. And if you wanted to make it a little bit more of a challenge, you can push your hands into the floor and lean mildly forward. Carefully come up and out. Extricate your foot. Take your props out of the way. Go back in with your left leg first, and then go in with your right leg. If you'd like to hold lotus for the close of class before we come down to the floor, you can interlace your hands, press your palms forward. Inhale, arms up overhead. Closing as we started with a round of Kapalabhati breathing. Inhale, and then pulse. As you exhale, put those hands behind your head, roll the chest up to the ceiling, squeeze the elbows in. and gently release it. Change the cross of your lotus position. Interlace your hands. Change the interlock of your fingers. Press the palms forward. Inhale, arms up overhead. And pulse it out. Inhale at the top. Exhale, bring your hands behind your neck. Swing the elbows up towards the ceiling. Inhale high. And exhale, release your hands down. Untangle your legs and get ready for Shavasana. Laying yourself down on the floor. If you still have something rolled up, it'd be a great idea to put that behind your knees. Then come all the way down and take your hands behind your hips and lengthen the low back on the floor. Take your hands to the back of your neck and lengthen your neck on the floor. And then pull your shoulder blades under your body a little bit so that your chest is left open and your palms face up to the sky. Close your eyes and rest. I'm going to read you a poem by Mary Oliver. I'm going to sing you the song, and then we're good to go. Last night the rain spoke to me, slowly, saying what joy to come falling out of the brisk cloud, to be happy again in a new way on the earth. That's what it said as it dropped, smelling of iron, and vanished like a dream of the ocean into the branches and the grass below. And then it was over. The sky cleared. I was standing under a tree. The tree was a tree with happy leaves, and I was myself. And there were stars in the sky that were also themselves. At which moment my right hand was holding my left hand, which was holding the tree, which was filled with stars and the soft rain. Imagine the long and wondrous journeys still to be ours. Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. And we shine like diamonds shine on, 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 shine on. May all beings be. May all beings be happy and free. Take a full deep breath in. And exhale it all the way out. Take a slightly fuller, deeper inhalation. And exhale to let it go. And on your third breath, when you feel ready to, go ahead and slowly exhale over onto your side. Either side, doesn't matter which. And use your hands on the floor to press slowly up to seated. Placing your palms flat over the center of your chest. We'll close our session today with 3 ohms. Take a deep breath in. Placing your palms flat over the center of your chest. In gratitude for this time and for this practice, and above all else, for each other, we say, Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for watching live, for continuing our studio legacy online. I hope you feel fantastic, and just a reminder that if you'd like to show support for the studio during this time, we're offering all of our classes online. You can certainly take them for free, but if you're available to donate for classes, you can donate to each teacher's Venmo account, which should be attached to the video, or PayPal account, or call us and let us know how you can support our physical studio during this time of virtual reality. We hope that you're all safe and loved and cared for, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.